I'm Bobby Obermite with the Salt City Film Fest. This is episode 1 of our podcast. I'm here with Sheri Kaufman-Marsh, and I'm here with Kendal behind the camera.
Hello.
From Knackle Studios. We want to take this opportunity on our first episode to kind of explain what is an independent film festival and what that looks like as a filmmaker, what that looks like as an audience member, and what that could look like as a donor or a sponsor.
Yeah, I'm Sheri Kaufman-Marsh. Got some history on my resume with several different film festivals. Most notably, started Doc Sunback Film Festival with Nancy Farber-Matola 10 years ago, and got the shirt.
Oh, there we go.
And so Doc Sunback Film Festival is where I met Bobby, and we just kind of became friends and then started talking about where do we go from here. So
Well, how I got involved is somebody asked me to do a film fest. You might know him, Brett. He goes, "Hey, we got to do a film fest," and I Googled it. You guys already had a film fest, and last year was your first one, right?
correct.
That was our first official event.
Official? Okay.
Yep.
And this year it is September 26th and 27th,
Yes.
and we're going to be at the Fox Theater in Stratica. Anywhere else we're going to be?
Stratica Friday night,
Friday night, Stratica.
all day Saturday at the Fox.
All day Saturday at the Fox. What time does that kick off when you say all day?
When I say all day, so I'm the programming director for Salt City Film Fest. And so program's my thing. We'll start probably 9 or 9:30. It's hard to say because we're still selecting films. We have a screening team that helps rate and select the films for the event. So
Okay, so it's going to be from 9:30-ish.
to awards in the evening, it is probably 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock for awards.
It's a long day.
It is a long day.
It is a marathon when you go to a film festival.
Now,
to
see,
try
I've
to
never
see it.
gone to a film fest. So, all right, Fox Theater, I know that theater. Wonderful theater.
And Stratica on Friday night.
Friday night in the
In
mine,
the mine.
not upstairs.
Not upstairs,
You are
down
in the
in the cavern.
We are
What
the
is it?
only film festival I'm aware of out of 4,000 or 5,000 every year that takes place 650 feet underground.
Wow, that is awesome. And if you've never been down there, that is a phenomenal place. I can imagine that'd be a great place to screen film.
And it's light horror night.
light horror night.
Horror.
It could be
Horror.
suspenseful. It could be dramatic. It could be it. When we did our first year, we did it a week before Halloween, and so Sheri and I wanted to try and do something spooky in the mines to make it kind of a eerie feel, and I think we pulled that off pretty well.
Yeah, we did.
That block of films was phenomenal, but it's definitely not family friendly.
But it's 650 feet underground.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no escape other than an elevator.
That is it.
I love the mindset.
Yeah.
All right, so let's back up. I don't know what a film fest is, and how I got on this project is Brett introduced me to you, Bobby, and our relationship's grown to where we want to be a part of this as a studio, kind of flex and learn what we do and share that with the community. But I've never been to a film fest, so define a film fest, Bobby and Sheri.
So I'll start with the perspective from a filmmaker. As an independent filmmaker, without having like a Spielberg in my last name or something, there's many avenues now, more avenues now than ever before to get your film to an audience. The internet's phenomenal, but to actually physically be there, watch your film with an audience is a unique experience as a filmmaker. You want to see that they laugh where they were supposed to. You want to see that they gasp where they were supposed to. And the feeling of getting an applause at the end of all that meticulous, insane amounts of work that goes into taking care of an independent film as a storyteller, there is no other way to experience that, or it wasn't ever meant to be experienced any better way than with a live audience. There to give you real-time feedback on how that feels. But it also takes even further. I've met so many people through the independent film festival markets that I work with still, or I work with now, or that help me teach at my film program. They've got me into their film festivals as a judge, or participate by sending my own films. So it's a very tight-knit community, unlike anything I've had experience with in anything else. And so as an independent filmmaker, film festivals are one of your best tools to get your product out to an audience. You want to get that story out, and this is how you build that resume and build that confidence, and ultimately helps you keep driving forward because you can see it actually existing in an ecosystem.
Like that.
So I'm going to segue on that just a little bit. So from not a filmmaker, I should get a shirt that says not a filmmaker.
Not film crew on the
from not
back.
a filmmaker perspective, more from a production and program perspective, I've been involved with Film Fest from screening capacity, programming capacity, just plain a volunteer at a film fest. I mentioned that I started Doc Sunback Film Fest with a good friend of mine, Nancy Farber Matola and Kenny Lynn. We founded the festival, Doc Sunback, back in 2015. And so that kind of gave me a hands-on perspective of what is a film fest. And in the role of the programming director, which is the role that I've sat in for Doc Sunback and also Salt City Film Fest, our goal is to bring these independent films to an audience. So that's a film festival. Like Bobby said, those filmmakers don't get away to show their story. They're not affiliated with Hollywood. They're independent. So our job as the Film Fest organizers and producers is to get that out to the community. That's what we're hoping to do with Salt City Film Fest here in Hutchinson. We want to...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And so Film Fest, we'll talk a little bit more about format. We can talk about how you will experience Salt City Film Fest if you're an audience member. But the basic idea is you get to watch. You watch films you would never see. You won't see them on Netflix yet, right? Or you
it can
won't
be an avenue to distribution.
Right,
but,
it can.
But Netflix didn't just pump these things out for investors and just keep regurgitating trash and making remake after remake after remake. Studios are based on a money system, and they already have connections with theaters. Less than a fraction of percent of film school graduates will ever direct a studio-based film. It's a very political environment, and it's not meant to tell the story as much as it's meant to bring in dollars and see a green instead of a red. With independent filmmakers, they have a story to tell. It's much more genuine. The audience can feel that. The audience knows that these stories actually mattered to them because nobody was obligating them to do that.
Well, and I like that, and the fact that I had to go on and watch the films. First off, you said 80 in a meeting the other day, and I thought, well, you can't run a film fest in 2 days. But it's not...
Yeah.
You know,
it's not all
90-minute,
feature.
2-hour
It's
meal.
not
Yeah,
all feature films.
Okay.
So what you'll experience, at least at Salt, some festivals may be all feature films, but at Salt City Film Fest, you will experience films from 1 minute to 160 minutes to two. You know, we have 4 features this year.
We even screened a pilot to an episode, like an episodic based pilot. So it wasn't necessarily even a film, but it was still independent and it was crowdfunded. So it wasn't funded by like FX or Fox or something.
So when you said 80, I think that's a little long for our 2-day fest. But right now we're looking at screening and evaluating about 50 films.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
I'm not a judge, but I participate a lot in watching them because I love films. And my favorite right now is a 4-minute film.
Okay.
So
which is that?
I can't remember the title, and I didn't want to
Darn
say
it.
my favorite if I didn't want to come off as
Oh,
like,
well, yeah.
so it's already
we
been
should
decided.
we should probably release that later.
but I just love, part of what I love about it is they told something that got me excited in 4 minutes. To me, that is brilliant. They didn't need 40 minutes to get their point across, and that is a unique skill. As an instructor in this medium, I'm always encouraging my students to use less dialogue, show me a story, and to do it quickly. They've even have competitions and film festivals that are less than 5 seconds. These like micro competitions that so you can tell a whole story in 5 seconds.
Maybe for a future podcast, we can show the 1-minute film. There's a 1-minute film that started my journey on Film Fest at Doc Sunback. And it's just a 1 minute.
Wow.
And
I love it.
it's exceptional. It'd be a great clip to show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I like that the fact that not understanding it, now you're getting a little more information of what we'll see. I know there's going to be horror in the mind.
right.
Some of these are going to be very short, and you're going to have 4 features, correct? And the features are going to screen at the Fox, correct?
Yes.
Current plan, yes.
Current plan, okay.
We have a couple months to really hash everything out. Entries are still open. So if you're an independent filmmaker even internationally, you don't have to be from the local area. You can still enter the festival, and that's why we don't quite have everything lined out yet, because we've got in 3 more films this last couple of days.
That's a good point. We didn't talk much about international. These aren't just all local films.
Oh, okay.
Okay, a lot of them are, but we have films from last year. We had a film from China.
One of my favorites last year was a Chinese student film.
So
The team that won Best Documentary, or no, it was Best of Fest. Their producers were out in New York, and then the director was in Lawrence. So being a bigger production, they were spread across the country.
Wow.
So yeah, trying to facilitate that is one of the other logistical things Sheri and I do behind the scenes. That's kind of madness, is trying to get. We want the filmmakers to be there. Another unique experience you'll never get at the movie theater is Spielberg coming down to tell you and do a Q&A why he did this, why, obviously they have interviews with A-list directors, but this is a chance to actually like get in and have a tangible experience with an independent filmmaker who told that story. And I love doing Q&As on stage, and then afterwards having someone run up and grab you and go, this was so cool, or I liked this, or how did you do this, or why did you do this? And so the filmmakers love it, but as an audience member, you don't get to do that with Netflix. You can leave a comment on YouTube that maybe might have some weight, but this is the most real experience this is why cinema is what cinema is. And this is the one thing holding the industry together is the independent community, because we can see the responses from audiences towards the studio-based system. And you see it failing with streaming, and you see it failing with studios. And it's going to continue to do so, but you see festivals growing, and you see festivals being added every year. And
plus they're fun.
It's just
fun,
a more fun way to experience this art form that we are all so passionate about.
Well, everybody consumes video in one way or another.
Yeah,
so
even if you didn't mean to,
and now you're talking about accent of some type. So this is interactive. So I'm going to be able to meet some of the producers, directors, filmmakers.
Absolutely, actors. It's not it's not common yet for our festival, but you can meet a famous actor or actress, that starred in some of these films. Some of these independent filmmakers are really savvy, or know people, know producers, know actresses, and they appear in their film. They might have a cameo, so.
Last year we did a retrospective award. Cynthia Geary came from, I'm pretty sure she's still in LA. I think that's where she flew in from. But she came and did a speech, or I don't know if I'd call it a speech,
interviews.
kind of a Q&A, and the audience was allowed to go up and ask her questions. And people who would, and I can think of the Northern Exposure theme song just rings through my head still, because my parents never missed an episode.
Yeah, she was in that.
I was too young to appreciate it in the 90s, but I can still remember that song playing through, and that was so iconic. And so people, especially the older crowd, was like, I can't believe you have Cynthia Geary here. She was my favorite actress in the 90s. And a friend of a friend just made a few phone calls, and she flew in to attend this. And yet we can't guarantee we'll always have that particular experience all the time, that somebody who's had one heck of a storied career. But you got to kind of work it into their benefit too. She's now a producer and an actress in a new series, and it's her first time producing. So it was mutually advantageous for her to come to Hutch and help grow her audience, or remind her audience that she's still working. So that's a unique experience that you just won't get in any other way. And she wasn't the only one.
And that session there with the actresses was free of charge. So, that was kind of a bonus for ticket takers for Salt City Film Fest last year, is you got to meet and greet famous people. Get their autograph. Northern Exposure, if you love that series, that icon was there at your availability. So
And speak of that, how much are tickets?
So tickets we're still kind of pricing, but we're looking at $5 for a ticket bundle. And I mentioned there's short films that are bundled. There's also features. So if you have a feature ticket, it's $5. If you have a bundle of 10-minute films, then that's $5. So
wow.
So it's a really inexpensive way to get exposed and to see this kind of creativity in a couple of iconic venues.
Well, yeah, iconic is true. I loved what you said the other day about the Fox theaters. You could feel it when you were the first time you went. I mean, that's what's amazing place. I'll put up some photos. Historic registry. I finally went in it a couple weeks ago. Unbelievable.
It is
what
still an
better-
unbelievable experience. Just walking in the Fox. The first film I ever saw when I was probably 9 was at the Fox Theater, and it was The Sound of Music. And that feeling, that magic of just watching a movie for the very first time as a kid and having it Sound of Music on the Fox screen was just amazing. So
When you walk into the box office, they have this amazing, beautiful photo of this woman standing over a pile of rubble, which was one of the other theaters that was basically the same design.
wow.
And it's really powerful. She's sitting there in this like beautiful gown, like dress and you can tell she's just like in this emotional distress because they ripped this theater down for whatever reason, but it's become more and more iconic that these theaters aren't surviving. And I've screened in theaters that you could tell were beautiful once, but the paint's ripping off the walls, the foundation's falling apart. They have plywood going up ramps because it is really, really hard to maintain something like the Fox Theater with the way art budgets and such are formulated in most of our local economies. It's an incredible opportunity to have that theater here, and more people, if they knew about it, would be coming to Hutch to see how amazing that is. Because it is unlike, if you travel the country and go to theaters, this does stand out. Absolutely. And it's just right here in the center of America.
Yeah, and it's special. I mean, even the staircase to the balcony is phenomenal. The numbers over the doors. I mean, it's so spot on. 1930s, 40s. You just feel like you step back. Now you're walking in. You're going to see shorts. You're going to see features. You can buy bundles.
You can buy the whole day.
I might be a whole day guy.
Yeah, you can buy the whole fest. $35 for the whole fest experience. So
really, that's it.
That's it.
That's going in the mind.
That's everything.
Where there's no escape for the horror.
Come and go as you want. You don't want to see something, just go get lunch or, but
that's a bargain.
Yeah. It's not so much come and go with the mind because of safety protocols.
Well,
we have to go in groups and have to wear helmets. We can take the helmets off once we get into this room because it's fortified and it's safe enough. But we had people last year show up late and they didn't get to come in. The mine directors wouldn't let them in because they weren't on time.
Well,
so it's worth mentioning that. But you can come and go the rest of it, and we're really trying to work to make that because people coming in out of town, things didn't always work out for everyone. But with the Fox, because the blocks that Sheri is developing, we have an agricultural-based block. Sometimes you have a nonfiction or a comedy or a romance. Just kind of, and we're still hashing that out with what we get turned in.
We have a good thriller block.
Yeah, and that way, if you find a block you like, say you're a local ag person and you want to go to that, well, if you spend that 30, 35 for the entire time, then you're going to find something else that you didn't know you would like. And I think it's worth the money for something like that. I mean,
I love how you put it the other day. I was like, we're trying to formulate how do you explain this to people, and you threw out the phrase "just watch."
Just watch, yeah.
Just watch, because you're going to see something and be exposed to something that takes mere minutes, an hour or two out of your day, even if it's not in your interest. It may change you and pivot. Let me touch on this. As a layman, when I think of independent films, the one that you heard a lot about years ago was Sling Blade.
Oh, yeah, Sling Blade.
And started as a short film, I believe. Film. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, Billy
Bob Thornton
made a short, independent, that was shown at a festival and then
found funding through that, building that resume and showing that an audience was interested.
And that's the importance of the film fest. Is that part of the goal?
It's part of what when we started this. So often I've seen festivals that were ran by a tourism board, ran by like a nonprofit, or it was like a college film program. And so their priorities are always skewed to whatever that event needs to be. When Sheri and I sat down and talked about this with my partner, Patrick Mazer, it was really important to us that the filmmakers were at the forefront, right. And helping them find an audience, helping them build their resume. And we just had a film that they contacted us a few months ago and said, you guys were intricate in that resume build. We just got distributed. We're so excited to announce that. And they sent a poster back to us with our, they won Best Drama.
As easy as closing your eyes.
And a powerful film. It will make you cry. I'm a crier, but if you aren't, you will cry at this film. And they, what was so sweet about that from the producers was they went and redesigned another poster with our Laurel and their new distribution, and to announce, I think it was April 9th, they were having their distribution rollout kind of thing. They were letting everyone know. And they got into a lot of festivals. We weren't the only one.
No.
We certainly weren't the biggest one. But them building that audience with us was intricate in that process to distribution at some point that maybe wouldn't be available to that team had they not had the festival circuit.
Nice.
So, and we're not trying to cornerstone and be the only festival either. We wanted to work around weekends that other festivals were, because we like to go to them. Our friends run festivals too, and we still enter festivals as filmmakers. But when we were building this, it was really important to us that filmmakers were the focus, not a board of directors that is looking at the numbers, not a government agency, not a university, not an art center. It needed to be filmmaker focused first, and then having that moral is what's going to make us successful because we're doing the right thing.
Well, I understand that in our world of what we work with, our company that does Comic-Cons, cosplays that, where we don't bring in the big ones. We want people that express themselves. I guess it would be similar to that. And obviously you're in film. You have Blue Barn Productions. You've done some camera work. I always get a little uneasy when you walk in here because my cameras are garbage compared to what you have, but I stress over that. But Sheri,
it's the right tool for the right job.
Well, yeah.
There's no perfect camera.
I don't think I could.
Bobby's work is really good.
I've done a little bit of
He's being humble, but as a filmmaker, Bobby Obermite and Patrick Mazur, you guys really shine at Blue Barn.
Thank you.
And are you submitting anything real quick?
I haven't entered anything. Often what happens is like one of my students that I mentored or something will want to enter, and I know we have some of those. The student of mine that won Audience Choice last year with Pathfinders.
Nice.
To me, the most genuine award because we have a system that we'll explain with how we try to keep our judging credible, but the audience spoke, and that was the film that won. And to me, that was just so wholesome, because I knew he worked on it for 2.5 years, and I had seen it when it was a rough draft. I saw it when it was just the entry scene before the sequence roll, and it was just such a proud dad moment to see him do that. And I wasn't a part of it in any way other than just keep moving, keep going. And so, but we SOS, the pilot episode that screened, I was the director of photography and executive producer on that. Okay. So because of that correlation, Blue Barn being a production company, we didn't make it eligible for judging. It was just, we had a block to put it in. We knew an audience would enjoy it. It was different and unique. So we went ahead and screened it, but I think Sheri twisted my arm a little bit on that because I didn't want I can show films at other places, and this wasn't designed for Blue Barn to have a platform to screen through. Okay. But another film, The Basics of Love, I was an executive producer on that one, but because of COVID, I couldn't even be on set. Like there was a 10-day quarantine period in LA during the shoot. And so the shoot was only 6 days. So I'd had to have flown out and committed 2 weeks before we could even start. And since we had SAG actors, we had to take breaks in between. Sorry, this is lengthy. But
That's
basically, but the director, my friend from film school, he entered, and the judges liked it enough that it made it in through that. And so I just stayed away from the judging. I stayed away from any sort of influence that I could have, put upon that film. So it was really Josh showing his film, and our composer from the film came and showed up too. And so I got to meet him for the first time. So it became the same thing. It was just I had a different kind of role, and I tried not to be filmmaker at this because I'm filmmaker the rest of my time pretty much.
So you're involved, but you're not a filmmaker.
I'm not a filmmaker. I am getting that
Were
t-shirt.
you an actress?
No, I was never an actress.
I like a not film crew on the back or something. Because we did film crew on the back of our shirts this year, so you could tell who that volunteer was. It was part of, they're not an audience member. Grab them, they can help this person. But
yeah I am so much not a filmmaker that when we have family gatherings and reunions, my daughter takes my phone away because she's like, I'll film it, Mom, because You suck. And so there's that.
You're one of those vertical
perspe-
people, I'm sure. Yeah,
I am.
I know. Yeah.
So one of the things that I bring to the Film Fest are more organizational and more from think of a museum curator. I like to think of myself as a curator of sort in the
event
program.
Coordination.
So making sure that what you see and what you experience from the cinephile perspective is something you enjoy. So we work really hard at that. The festival doesn't limit itself to certain topics or certain genres. We mentioned horror. We're going to have horrors, thrillers, documentaries, narratives. We have agriculture as a block this year.
Interesting.
Well, and what Sheri's art form is not in the production side. She builds the schedule, and it's beautiful. And I still have your schedules from my first 2016 screening. I took a film to Doc Sunback, and one of the things I saved was Sheri's schedule. She always comes up with like a creative little name for the block, and then she has to take all these pieces. It's like putting a puzzle together, but you have no idea what the pieces are going to be until this deadline. And then the judges help decide, okay, we think this is credible through our rubric system. And then Sheri's like, I think this will play well with this. And it is absolutely an art form to go this film, then this film, then this film. Because,
in a certain order.
And you don't just grab a bunch of MP4s and just slap them into a playlist. It's way, way more complicated than that. And so I've literally saved every Doc Sunback and Tallgrass, all of the schedules, because to me, that's part of me. Like, remember, it's my scrapbook version of my film got to play in that block that year. And I was going through doing my historical chronological timeline of my career, and my schedules is what I'm like, oh, I forgot that was when I met Patrick and Lolo, those kinds of things.
Yeah, because they were in the same block.
They were in the same block. Yeah. And it had been 9 years. So I hadn't even, but her schedules that she puts together, her programming is absolutely an art form, because that's what makes that experience special, and not just
I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not clear that the blocks had a name till you brought it up. So like we said, there's an agriculture block this year. I'm thinking of calling that This Land is Our Land. So what you'll buy a ticket for won't be an individual film in that block. You'll buy a block ticket for This Land is Our Land, and it'll be all agricultural related. So it's kind of curating in that way.
Well,
it's
part
funny.
of it is to get them to draw in. You got to have the right block. It's got to work together.
It's got to be kind of catchy.
It's going to be scary in the mind. So I
don't know what we'll name that yet.
The other day, my brother the other day goes, I think this film would work in this block, and I go, you don't understand. These blocks are totally unique to that event of that year, based on what the filmmakers were sending. And so we do reach out. We do contact people if we know they have something good. We might send them a waiver and please let us show your film email. But 95% of them are sending them to us.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of the entry. So that's what makes it hard to build that program. Because
we can't tell you in 2026. We might have an idea of something we might want to show. We might be like, oh, it'd be really cool. We don't know. We might get 12 clown films next year, and 9 of them are good, and now we have a clown block. Like, that could. We just can't predict that.
Well, I'm going to run with the clown theme. So you're the juggler with balls, and somebody can throw you a bowling pin, and you've got to make it work.
You got to make it work.
Yep.
Well, how did you get?
I throw the chainsaw.
He's a chainsaw would be the way to go.
On fire.
How did you get into this, Sheri? I mean, this is a lot of work. I have an appreciation for it, and you're a volunteer.
It is a lot of work. Yeah, we have no paid positions.
Our whole staff is volunteer right now. Yep. Hopefully that doesn't sustain, but as soon as we can start getting more sponsors and donors, our goal is to make more money through that than ticket sales and entry fees. So we try to keep all of those things really affordable, and let corporations and agencies, help fund that. But we're building that. You came from the airline industry yourself.
Well, yeah, I have a career with Boeing, but that's totally separate. But
completely different than.
So I had been working with Tallgrass Film Festival, and Nancy and Kenny, who I mentioned, started Doc Sunback with me. Kenny probably saw me at Tallgrass. I don't know, but I was.
And Kenny runs the media and films and design stuff for Derby.
Yeah, he's a teacher at Derby High.
So, jack of all trades.
But what happened, it's kind of a funny story. So I had screened at Aspen Shorts. I've screened at, done some work for the Bentonville Film Festival, BFF. And
That's a big one.
Yeah. So Aspen is pretty big too. And I just love to go to film festivals. And Nancy somehow heard my reputation. She owns a restaurant in Mulvane called Luciano's. And so Nancy called me one day in April in 2015 and said, Sheri, I heard you like film. And I said, yeah, I do. Why? She goes, I want to start a film festival here in Mulvane, Kansas. And I'm like, oh, I know about that, but starting one and doing one, it was like mind boggling. How do you get entries? Do you advertise for them? You know, what happens? You know, all of this. And so Nancy said, let's just come over for lunch and we'll talk about, I have a name. I want to pick Doc Sunback. There's a backstory to that. But she said, we'll meet in April. So we met mid-April and I said, okay, let's do it. Let's start a film fest. You, me, and Kenny. Mulvane's a small town. I said, when do you want to do it? She goes, July. I go, July 2016. Yeah. So we're in 2015. She goes, no, July. And I went, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, how are we going to move from April to July and hold a film fest? But we did it. And the rest is history. So that just kind of
got to start.
So
got to start.
You like the mechanics of it, the work of it?
I love it. I love the program of it, the programming. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the guy to buy the trophies, although I did that for Doc Sunback, you know, or to secure the venues, but I like the product, the films.
Okay.
So I'm passionate about bringing that to an audience.
What am I going to see? I've never been. I'm going to get my blocks. I'm going to walk into I know what the Fox is about, the feeling and all that, but what am I going to get when I sit down and I engage this? What are you going to walk away with at the end of it as somebody who's never gone before?
What are you going to walk away with? You're going to walk away with a memory, and you're going to walk away with a feeling, and you're going to walk away with hopefully some passion for a filmmaker maybe, or an actress, or, you know, the same things you get if you like to stream things at home. You're going to get those same emotions and passions watching these films. Yeah, because they're going to touch you.
You could be inspired. You could be moved. You could be educated.
You might buy a camera.
There's so many things that you might do. And a lot of people do go to a festival, and then before you know it, they're like, I think I want to try this and see what I can do. And one of the things that I like to point out is everybody has that friend that wants to be the first one to show you that video, and 5 years later, like, remember I showed you Charlie getting his finger bit, like that. Yeah. They like have that. It's kind of like this pride that they found this diamond in the rough kind of thing.
Exactly.
And the film festival, this is the only time that anybody in this community is going to be able to see these films, unless that Sling Blade or the short film turns into a feature and then they see that. But for the most part, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to see artwork that doesn't just hang on walls and sit there. It's just fleeting. It's your one chance.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That kind of gave me a perspective. If you like watching TikTok videos, you know, or watching something, you get involved in reels on Facebook and you're like sending them to your friend, then come watch these. I mean, these are already curated. You don't have to watch the one that's like a roll past.
And you're not going to like all of them either. That's one of the things. Like, I think it's important to experience people's perspectives, and if whether it's a political, religious type thing that's being like in the subtext, but I think it's important to put yourself out and experience things, even if you're on that. I've watched a lot of bad films at film festivals, and when I'm a filmmaker going, oh well, they did that, okay, yeah, well, let's get back to the drawing board because we can do that.
We had so kind of had a saying, Kenny and Nancy and I, is we would screen almost anything, and we should mention these are not rated. So we would screen almost anything unless the dog died. That was kind of like the boundary. So then I found a film where the dog dies, and they're like, I didn't tell anybody. So when the program rolled, Nancy looked at me and she said,
but she was mad.
She was mad. I'm like, well, it's a good film.
So
that's funny.
I think our consumption of entertainment is so different. The one thing that movies do nothing for me now that go into a release, because I know Iron Man's going to survive. I mean, it's recan. And so I think we're in a time where people are trying to trying to get in there and find something special and unique in a lot of different mediums. But this sounds like an opportunity. You're going to see gems that you have no other access to.
You are, and I would love to talk about more of some of the topics and the gems. And I think once we select, we're still in the selection process.
We know a good portion of what we think we'll go through, but it's worth kind of digging a little bit into our process that Sheri and I don't just go, that was a good film, we're screening it. We take it to a group. We have 14 listed judges at this time, and then others for script writing and others for photography, depending on the medium that they have experience or passion for. But Sheri and I don't just pick our favorites and put it on. It goes through a process. You can't screen in the festival until it's been through a rubric by at least 3 judges. And based on that rubric, you need to score 7 out of 10 through those judges to be eligible. And more can judge, but 3 is our minimum. And then if you get 7 out of 10, now you're eligible for potential awards. And that could be best drama, best comedy, best student film, best documentary. So we have various, and then that goes to different judges that have a new perspective on it that maybe don't like it, maybe they do. But there's layers to it. Sheri and I are the face of the festival, giving it the heartbeat. But when it really comes down to everything, the core group, it is a community. It is a bunch of other cinephiles, passionate people, many of them filmmakers, many of them event people, all of them creative, obviously, that if they're wanting to give us their time for free. But when people enter, it is going through a processes that isn't that is supposed to be protected from favoritism. So if you went through my film program and I was your advisor for 2 years and I gave you a hug at graduation, you still got to get through 3 judges before. And we had students enter last year that didn't play. And now I usually try to find a waiver for them, try to help them out. We don't want the kids to pay much, but it's really important to us that this is not picked, that it's picked by committee instead of just being, kind of just me and Sheri going, I knew that guy. He's going to play at our festival. But
are you guys still accepting submissions?
We are.
Okay,
through August 1st.
Yes.
It's on.
It's August. I think it's August 1st.
What's the website?
Filmfreeway.
Freeway. Okay. Film Freeway.
Film Freeway is the best way to enter. It's not as if you couldn't, if you were having issues. We had some people that were having trouble understanding the platform, especially the photography. We had some of that crowd, especially the photography crowd, wasn't quite as tech savvy.
And I'm one of those guys.
Well, and so my brother tried doing a lot of phone calls and Zoom calls to help these guys out, get through that process. They're South by Southwest, they still make you mail in your stuff because they have that credibility. It's not that Film Freeway has to be the only platform. It's the best way for you to enter our festival and for us to get it organized and judged quickly. We like to see the director bio, director statement, headshots. You can share your trailer to us, which we can immediately pull off your poster, your trailer, and we can put it on our stuff once you get accepted. So Film Freeway is the best avenue currently, but I've had some people personally send in some photography because they've had issues. So we try to work with the little guy as much as we can because we're the little guy too. So
it's good being I'm a little guy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not physical, but let's wrap this up. So we've got Salt City Film Fest, September 26th, 27th.
Correct.
Friday, we're in the mine, 650 feet down, no escape for horror and thrillers. And then we are in the Fox.
No escape, I like that.
And we're in the Fox.
See, we're working on, we'll steal titles.
We're working on taglines. Yeah.
Well, and when the elevator closed, have you guys gone down there?
Yeah.
It's just black.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that. They just throw you in the elevator. Next thing you know, it's black. So
they have a light, but then you'd be cheating.
No, we didn't get a light.
I pretty much lived down there last year setting up for it. I was there all week.
Oh, you've done it before.
I had to go up and
last year we were down there. Yeah.
I literally physically moved every light in that place and changed the colors meticulously to everything.
And you brought the popcorn machine down.
Popcorn machine, our own projector. Really? We brought our own. We used their sound system. That was it. Their chairs, their sound system, their wall, and everything else Pat and I drove down.
And adult beverages.
Yeah, even
You
just
didn't
getting your
mention that.
even just
Yeah.
getting your liquor license is a logistical nightmare.
Oh, that any aspect of a festival
Yeah,
or convention.
it's more when you're going to one and you're like, this is so much fun, and then you go back and you're like, we should do our own. Start making a list of all the things because if you don't, you're gonna start having one anyways. And we learned a lot last year.
Right.
So much.
Just the popcorn machine logistics would be a nightmare going 650 feet down. So then
I still have a sound bar down there that I forgot to bring up, and I was like, we'll be back.
Yeah,
Because it's a chore just to go down and back up. It's going to take you an hour.
Yeah.
So-
we took all our camera equipment down, and
We had to
that's
be
why we got our
escorted.
box down.
Yeah.
It was a train wreck. And then on
But I
Saturday,
absolutely love it down there.
On
It's-
Saturday,
it's
yeah.
unreal.
Oh, it's beautiful down there. Oh, what is it? 67 degrees. Anyway,
It's also worth mentioning that one of the reasons being the Salt City Film Fest was iconic because we're the Salt City. Hutch is a little unknown for that, I guess internationally, but if you're from around here, the mascot for the high school is the Salt Hawks, you know. Every other business in town is Salt City Pond, Salt City Financing, whatever. Many, many different things around that. But why it was so iconic for us when I had 48 names written down, and that was something we took to committee, is they store all these old films down there because silver
Yes.
nitrate is so combustible. It's safer, like you said, 67 degrees all the time. Something about the salt, you know, keeps everything in a safe form. So you can see costumes, you can see film reels. They have
Come early.
props. And,
Come early.
And so what we did last year was you could tour around before we kicked off. You could come down 30 minutes early, get a drink, snack, and you could go look at these things. When you're walking through the museum type feel, you do have to wear a helmet during that particular time.
yes.
And then once you come into the screening room, however they fortified it, some of the way they cut into the ceiling, you can take it off then. But it's not just watching films. You get to experience real cinema history. And that was a funny thing when Alexandra Paul, and I forgot to mention Alexandra Paul came last year too from Baywatch and many, many films. But that was her iconic role was Baywatch in the 90s. Her and Cynthia Gary were down there, and they had films that it was late night shows they had been on when they were promoting their films and their shows were archived down there. So they're like, we have work down here. That was kind of
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Just-
I didn't
just
even
so-
know that.
Yeah, that was something they mentioned when they came down to check it out. They were like, this is where they store that old like Conan O'Brien show or something they were on.
Wow.
So it's an experience outside of just meeting the filmmakers, outside of seeing the films. But also it's a once in a lifetime thing if you're not from Kansas and can't do that. So
That's Friday night. What
That's
time
Friday
does that
night.
kick off? What time do you, when
We
you
haven't
say
set
early?
a time.
we
Early
didn't
enough for a cocktail and see Mr. Freeze's costume. For
last
me.
year we did it would be like right after dinner. I think we started like 7.
Right.
But,
Oh, okay.
So it'll probably be in that ballpark once we know exactly how long the block will be, and we have to facilitate all of that for the safety. And they have to they pull their own crew of about 8 to 10 just for us to do that, which is cool. One of my old students is the manager down there, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a
That'll
small
work.
community.
It is. a
Yeah,
small
so it'll
community.
be late evening. I mean, early evening to late evening. It'll
awesome.
run down there.
And then Saturday, you got to be back up at 9:30
Got to be
ish.
back up.
Sure.
9:30
Fox
ish.
Theater.
Sherry's going to be doing coffee and donuts
Yep.
with the
At the
crowd.
Fox.
At the Fox early in the morning.
Oh, I'll see you there.
Okay.
I
Kick
like
off
that.
with a feature, and I didn't know if you wanted to pivot into that a little bit.
Yes, I was gonna. Mind if I get my notes out?
Please.
Okay, so
I have no notes.
films that we know are scoring well and will most likely be in the
I
festival.
think we have 3 judges on a few now, but we
yeah,
still
we
have
do.
to program
We on
them.
all of these that I'm going to mention their
Okay.
name. They're
Okay.
already scoring well with 3 or more judges.
so
So,
they can start booking their
right.
plans.
So we can talk about these films and maybe
Yeah.
do podcasts for them. But the first one is Where the Cottonwoods Grow, and that's by Dale Hildebrand, is the filmmaker from Canada. And it's about it's a documentary, a Mennonite migration from Europe to the U.S. and Canada.
Oh, that's got some local ties too.
Yes,
Big
yes.
Mennonite community down
Yes. And then the one that's Saturday morning that we're starting is My Heart Remembers. And the director is Stephen Folker, and the filmmaker is Melinda Myers. And that's it's a period piece. It's set in 1903. And it's about lifestyle.
Missouri.
And it's a narrative, so it's fictional. It's about an orphanage.
It's a little bit of a
basically.
tearjerker.
A little bit
too,
of a
but not so
tearjerker in the
much for
morning.
the sad. want to give
I don't
anything.
know when we're going to screen it, but we have a film about movies called Meet Me at Magic Hour by a local Wichita filmmaker, Monica Honey. And so that's a cute little kind of comedy rom-com film that will show sometime during the festival. And then we have a block that has 2 documentaries in it so far that I can confirm are scoring well enough on their own that they'll be there.
Yeah.
The first one is called Unwarranted: The Senseless Death of journalist Joan Myers. And that's about the Marion County reporter journalist.
Yes.
That it's called Unwarranted because search of her home kind of caused her death.
It's easily one of the most important films that we're going to screen because of them documenting what took place and how important it is for that story to get out so that it can be prevented from happening more. Yeah. And also in the memory of what took place. I make my film. My students have all watched it. Our journalism program coordinator at the college, he showed it for his students. I've spoke with the filmmaker about doing another screening at the college that would be more public oriented. And I personally reached out to the filmmakers on this one because they're right out of Wichita. Second.
Wait for that to go by.
Yeah, I don't know how bad that kicks through on these mics, but
I don't know either. I'm learning.
That would have been.
I'm already hearing things I don't like about her. We have new mics, the Rode Pod mic.
Well,
we're giving them a go.
The only one on set that will tell me to cut during an interview is my sound guy. They hear a helicopter, motorcycle,
I let
dually.
it. We're in an office downtown Hutchinson, Salt City. It's going to happen.
I had a friend that had an instance once where they were trying to film. They booked out 2 hours in the studio, and there was a manhunt in the neighborhood, and the helicopter kept coming by like every 3 minutes all day. Well, so totally botched their day. Sorry,
it's like
Kendal.
the pressure I have right now. It's like I'm looking at the monitor. I've got shadows I got to work on. You're the first person to use this set, and we got some lighting issues. I can already tell. I'm hearing things in the mic. I'm under a lot of stress here, Bobby.
That's gonna be fun.
A lot of stress.
You got some editing to do.
I got a little bit of editing.
Oh, Kendal, it's only the story that matters. A trash truck is a little much, but you can't control that. But
no,
it's only the story.
Trucks. Something about that Marion County though is locally a lot of people are going to know about it.
It'll hit home
outrageous
for
what
sure.
happened, but on a national level, I bet it's not well known. This would give it exposure.
We're helping spread that message.
Yeah, because there's definitely some authority figures in Marion County that needed to be checked and checked hard. Mm-hmm. Some of them have been held accountable to a certain extent. I know
it's ongoing.
Litigation,
but
that's a great story to tell that should have national attention.
It's an important responsibility that Sheri and our team has to give that film a platform.
Yeah.
It's sitting on YouTube. That would disqualify it from many of the larger markets. We don't care how long ago the film was made. We don't care where the film is sitting right now. As long as that doesn't hurt your distribution connection that you may have, Netflix would not like us screening their film, for instance. So we don't want to put a filmmaker in a precarious position where like it affects something that they've already had a connection to. But this, like our festival doesn't have those particular rules that it has to be made in the last 2 years. It has to be a premiere in Kansas or, like Sundance, you have to premiere there. If you show anywhere else, you're immediately disqualified. And I guess if you have that leverage, then, good for you, but that's not our mission. I want that film to get seen by every single person with eyeballs and ears that could be affected by somebody in an authority figure position taking advantage of their role.
Well,
and
that should be an anchor for a block. I mean, that's the one that's going to draw people in.
It is. So
locally,
that I don't know what the block will be named yet, but Unwarranted is going to be in there.
It's going to be iconic for
and
the
then
festival
also
this year.
one called Unfounded by Andrew Kivett. Mm-hmm. It's about an arrest, an unfounded arrest. So
that's the beauty of it is you can either have a rom-com, little agriculture, little horror in a mine, taste. And then bam, you're mad at Marion County Sheriffs.
That's where Sheri's new slogan this year really comes in. Just watch it. It might only be 4 minutes, and if you don't like it, go buy a drink. Drown your sorrows. it'll be fine. Like then the next one could be totally different, and you may not have any idea. Like there's no way to know what's going to come next to something like this because we don't even know what it's going to be yet, and it's only in September. I mean, we have an idea, but obviously this thing is its own lifeblood. This is an art form that is literally, creating its own oxygen, and we're just here trying to help facilitate it.
I love the fact that you've approached it with having a layman on here, explaining this, getting more detail. I'm getting excited about it. Genuinely, I'm looking forward to this. It's something I'm going to experience with my son. He's 17. He's part of our company. Kimberly's going to be there. It's a family thing.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people, do your research, find out about the Salt City Film Fest, saltcityfilmfest.com.
It's .com.
.com, where, and of course, tickets will probably go up for sale when?
Probably we need to get the QR code working here now.
Feels like Brett.
And we're going to, and that's the thing. Our entire team, everybody is volunteer with enthusiasm. That is the only thing funding them right now. And it's grown. We're double the size we were last year. So even that's a good sign. We're about almost double the film submissions from last year. Wonderful sign. It's worth mentioning because you mentioned a 17-year-old. Because they're independent films, they haven't been through the rating system.
Yes.
So you're not protected from that. Now, we want to make sure that we don't show an excessive violence. We're not trying to have any government political thing go through. We have some base rules, like pornography would be disqualified right away to protect those particular things. But we do not have PG-13. Rated R. That is all non-rated films, and
you might hear a dirty word or
you're going to hear some language. You might have subject matter that you're not okay with, but that's
some adult.
Yeah,
you got to be a mentally tough walking in.
And you might not. This year we have a lot of documentaries. So from a family-friendly perspective, there's a lot of documentaries you can bring your 9-year-old to.
Well,
absolutely, yeah.
like
there is films that,
but it's on you. It's on you to figure out what you want your kids to see or not.
My kids will be there. My daughter was there last year when she was 6. She loves being involved with these kinds of things. But if I know that particular scene is coming up or that film's coming up, then we're gonna go back out. But like she went on stage with me to do stuff last year, so I love the family environment. But it's not. There's not a kids block necessarily. We're at least not. We just don't have any cartoons entered.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe next.
If we get 10 today, then we'll have a meeting. But yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having us, Kendal.
Sheri, it's been great. Bobby,
I love what you've done with the studio. It's absolutely beautiful.
Come
check out Knackle Studios at 13 East Sherman.
13 East Sherman, downtown Hutchinson, or Salt City, whatever we call it. Knackle is salt, so we were on the same train.
Oh, okay.
NaCl.
Yeah.
My son had to explain it to me like I was a dummy.
Yeah. I was terrible in chemistry, so
well, and he
you need a periodic table somewhere in here.
Well, yeah, and when he kind of leans into you like you're a poodle to explain it to you, he's going over your head. Well, guys, thanks a ton for coming in. Salt City Film Fest coming at you September 26th, 27th in a salt mine on Friday at the Fox Theater on Saturday. Guys, thanks a ton. We'll see you at the next podcast.
Sounds great.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.